Welcome back. All right, so we're going to take a look at the Calgary Flames in against the Dallas Stars. You have the number one team in the Pacific, the number one wild card in the West, and so it ends up being Texas versus Canada, Texas. Works out pretty well that way. So for Calgary, they finished the season 50, 21, and 11. And overall, very good record, and they actually played Dallas pretty well. Dallas did win the first meeting in overtime, 4-3 on November 4th. On February 1st, Calgary wins 4-3, and recently, April 21st, Calgary won that game 4-2. That was at the tail end of a road trip where Dallas didn't perform very well. Now, as I said, the 50, 21, and 11 record for the Flames is pretty strong and pretty impressive in that they have 111 points. Last 10 games, 6-2-2. They did lose their final game, but again, some of the teams that finished near at the top of their division didn't necessarily have that same desperate hockey in the final week of the season that other teams did, which made the power rankings a nightmare. I'm glad those are done for another year. But Calgary at home, excellent record, 25-9-7. They had an iffy record at one point, not so much anymore. And on the road, 25-12-4. So they won 25 at home, 25 on the road. Their stats are fantastic. That way, you can beat them one place or the other, but it's hard to beat them in both. So, on the other side, you've got Dallas, 46-30-6. Their last 10 games, they were 5-3-2. They did win their final game of the season, which clinched this spot as Nashville lost their final game of the season. At home, 27-10-4. So 27 wins at home, actually two more than Calgary. But on the road, a bit of a rougher time, 19-20-2, right? And they were above 500, and then that Western Canadian swing did away with that. Now, power plays. Calgary has a slight edge there, 22.9% to 22.4%. But penalty kill, much better for Calgary, 83.2% to 79%. Goals for, favors Calgary, 3.55 goals for to 2.84 for Dallas. Goals against, favors Calgary as well. They only allow 2.51 goals per game, whereas Dallas allows 2.98. That's right, Dallas allowed more goals than they scored during the 2021-2022 season. And the whole way through, people kept saying, just look at the goal differential. Dallas will fall out. Look at the goal differential. Didn't happen. So, the last 4 years of playoffs, Calgary didn't make it in 2018. 2019, they lost in the first round against Colorado, four games to one. Of course, they won the first game of that series. 2020, in round two, the last time they're in the playoffs, they lose 4-2 against the Dallas Stars. So this is a chance for revenge. And I'm seeing it. 2021, of course, they didn't make the playoffs. Last year was a nightmare year for Calgary. The less said about it, the better. On the Dallas side, 2018, they don't make the playoffs. So both of these teams missed the playoffs in 2018. 2019, they made it to round two. They lost in 7 games against St. Louis. The Blues just outplayed them in that 7th game. 2020, they made it all the way to the final. They lost 4-2 against the Tampa Bay Lightning, a series that never felt like they were going to win anyways, but at least they won a couple of games. And of course, last year, they don't make the playoffs either. So both of these teams are coming off of years they didn't make the playoffs, and they both have something to prove. Now, the channel is 88% in favor of Calgary, to the surprise of no one. And myself, I'm taking Calgary, even though clearly I'll be cheering for Dallas. I really think they're up against it. And when you look at your key players, it is that first line for Calgary. Johnny Gaudreau, 82 games, 40 goals, 75 assists, 115 points. To call it a career year, I think, is an understatement. Matthew Tkachuk, 82 games, 42 goals, 62 assists, 104 points. And then Elias Lindholm, 82 games, also 40 goals, but only 40 assists and 82 points. Sorry. 42 goals, 40 assists for 82 points. What's math? Math is not absolute, right? Yeah, people get mad when I say that, so I'm not going to say that. Just pretend I didn't. So yeah, 82 points for him. And Tanev, 82 games, 6 goals, 22 assists, 28 points. Remember 2 years ago when I kept being told, look, Tanev just misses too much time, so the Canucks can't afford to keep him. He didn't miss a game this year. Didn't miss a game last year. Markstrom, I don't think he missed a game last year. Anyways, Markstrom, the starting goaltender, 37-15 and 9.922 save percentage. Had a fantastic first half of the season. Pretty good second half as well, so we'll see how things go in the playoffs. On the Dallas side, who is your main guys with Dallas? It's pretty obvious. So Robertson is the one that stirs the drink. He's the engine for the forward group. 74 games, 41 goals, 38 assists for 79 points. Hintz, 80 games, 37 goals, 35 assists, 72 points. Absolutely fantastic season for him as well. And then Pavelski, 82 games, 27 goals, 54 assists, 81 points. Whichever first line is able to overcome that other defense, that team should win the series. Heiskanen, 70 games, 5 goals, 31 assists, 36 points. He had a better season than I think the stats tell you. Heiskanen's a pretty good defenseman. I don't think he'll ever wow us with his point totals, but his overall play will certainly wow a few. Jake Ottinger, the starter for this, 30, 15, and 1 on the season with a .914 save percentage. Otter is good at points. He's very good in others. And then he has some rough nights as well. He's a young goaltender. So really it's going to come down to how those first 2 games in Calgary go. But it does feel like Calgary's going to win this series and move on to the second round. And then we'll see what happens in the second round, whether or not we get the Battle of Alberta or not. But yeah, so you guys can let me know in the comment section below who you're taking in this series. The channel, as I said, 88% in favor of Calgary. I expect a lot of Calgary responses in the comment section below. But hey, there will be those who believe in Dallas. I like Dallas's future. The one thing that makes me nervous with Dallas's future is the amount of money tied up with Ben, with Sagan, and just the production from them hasn't been quite where you want it to be for that amount of money. But again, you know, Pavelski's taken a good deal for next year, and Hintz and Robertson aren't being paid yet the amount of money that they're absolutely deserving. And at that point, then Dallas is probably going to have some decisions to make. But for this series, none of that's a problem yet. And we'll see. Can Dallas find enough scoring and enough depth? And can they keep that top line for the Flames off the board? I have my doubts. But again, I've been wrong. I want to be wrong on this one. Absolutely do. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. I will talk to you again soon.